Raider Nation, what's the deal, man? Once again, it's your guy PanamaFargo, back to y'all live with another episode of the Raider Rundown. Make sure y'all keep tapping on that like and subscribe button, man, and keep sharing out the content. We close to that 500 goal, man. Y'all know it's about to go down once I hit that, man. First giveaway, first sponsor of the channel. I am very excited to share that with y'all, man, and to get into that. So, you know, make sure y'all keep hitting all them buttons, man, and we gonna get to that shit very soon. But without further ado, man, what y'all came to see on this lovely Sunday morning, man, that Raider content, we're going to take an in-depth look at the Raiders running back room and what would happen if we don't have that monster, number 28 in the backfield, man. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, if you're a Raiders fan, we all know that the Raiders are in contract flux with their star running back, Josh Jacobs, right? We put a franchise tag on him, and since then, we ain't really heard too much news about him, right? We ain't heard too much, contract negotiations being started or even talked about, or even thought about. Now, Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler have repeatedly said that they want Josh Jacobs in a Raiders uniform this next season, man. They want him long term because he embodies what they want. At the same time, I do feel like he's not going anywhere, right? I do feel like Josh Jacobs is going to be a Raider. He's going to get his money, man. And at the end of the day, we all might be tripping for nothing. But as time continues to pass, more and more, we start to get a little more nervous. We start to sweat a little bit more. You feel me? Like, what's going on with the Josh Jacobs talk? Now, since we ain't heard anything, we have to prepare for every type of scenario, right? And that's what I'm here to do on this channel, right? We here to talk, have conversation, and give type of scenarios, man. So just so we prepare for anything that might come our way, we not surprised, right? So if we were to, trade Josh Jacobs, we might get a nice little hefty haul, especially after he played last year, man, the type of season he had last year. We might get something hefty, right? So he's gone. Let's take a look at what's behind him right now. You drafted Zamir White last year, okay? Now, we saw him in spurts. To be honest, man, I didn't see the explosiveness, right, that I wanted to see, that I saw in his college days. You know what I mean? Like, in his college days, you saw a little bit more explosiveness. And in the NFL, it didn't really get to formulate. Now, is it because, the holes that he's running through aren't what they were in college? Now, keep in mind, he was damn near at the best college in the country, all right, in Georgia. So, the holes that you're running through there are quite large, all right? I can fit my motherfucking car through them holes that O-line was creating, okay? So, at the end of the day, I still wanted to see a little more explosiveness, but he still has that one-cut ability that I think can be very, very useful in this Josh McDaniels scheme, man. At the end of the day, as we were seeing Josh Jacobs do last year, man, I mean, if you have that nice explosive one cut, okay, it can be able to slice the defense up with the blocking schemes that Josh McDaniels provides, right? So maybe with more touches, more repetition, we see a little bit more Zamir White's skill set and what he can bring to the table, right? To me, I still feel like he's a little quicker than Josh Jacobs, but right now, Josh Jacobs is definitely more explosive. Now, after Zamir White, what do we have? Now you have Brandon Bolden. Now, me personally, I don't think Brandon Bolden's gonna make the fucking team after training camp, okay? After last year, I was sitting wondering to myself, what specifically is his role? Is he just a blocking running back? I mean, is he a receiving running back? At the end of the day, man, we have to be honest with ourselves. He's slow as shit, okay? He's slow as hell, all right? He's big. Now, he can block. He can do all that, but even when he catches passes and shit, I mean, like, what do we really expect after the catch? You feel what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing really to expect. I don't really see him carving out a role in this offense if it's not just a strictly pass blocker, pass catcher, give me 5 yards of a quick dump. You feel what I'm saying? Let's get to rocking. Boom, like that. But other than that, I don't see this man getting a pure running back role where he's going to be taking handoffs and shit like that. It's just, that's not where he's at. Now, we go after that, we're at Ameer Abdullah. Now, Ameer Abdullah is the guy that I feel like is going to be the real receiving threat, okay? The real James White of the offense, if that makes sense, okay? Now, last year, we saw spurts of Ameer coming in and giving you that, right? He had that catch against Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, where it was like a nice little wheel route, and he could have had another one the week prior. I believe it was Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, but our former quarterback, whose name shall not be named, didn't put it where it was supposed to be. Now, we saw elements of him, being able to come in and give you that type of production. Now, I see him being that receiving back, right? But at the end of the day, you don't have Josh Jacobs. You still don't have that horse. You feel what I'm saying? You ain't got that hog that you can give 20 to 25 carries to, all right? And Ameer Abdullah's not that. Brandon Bolden's not that. You're hoping Zamir White is that, but at the end of the day, man, he hasn't shown the ability to be able to do that. Now, it might be a blessing in disguise for Zamir, going backtrack, but it might be a blessing in disguise for Zamir that he didn't really play that much because he was coming off 2 major injuries. You got to remember before last year, he was coming off major knee injuries. You feel me? So getting a year off, getting a year to really prepare your body for the NFL, we might be able to see that from Zamir going forward if Josh Jacobs is not here, right? Now, going into our next running back after Ameer Abdullah. Now, this guy right here, we saw a lot of in the preseason, and I like the way he was getting down, man. I really did, and which is Brittan Brown, man. This is a guy from UCLA that they picked up last year, and hey, when he was in, man, he looked real smooth, right? There's some running backs where they're not fast, they don't have all the attributes, but at the end of the day, they're smooth as hell. Like a dude that comes to mind that I think that wasn't really fast, that wasn't really like this, and I'm not saying this is a comparison, but a dude like Arian Foster, right? He wasn't, otherworldly at a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, he was so smooth. His feet were so quick. The lateral quickness was so good, man, that I was enamored with Arian Foster, right? Him, Matt Forte, guys like this, Brittan Brown kind of has a little bit of that where it's like he's a big guy. Keep in mind, he's a huge guy, but at the end of the day, we look at him, he's not fast, not overly quick, but he's just smooth. His feet are smooth. He knows how to get through the holes, and he knows how to get through them quick. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I feel like this is a guy that might carve himself a little role this year, depending on how he worked on his body and depending on how, how he's able to pick up the NFL game in his second year. Now, last guy that I've heard a lot of people talk about, I really got to go back and do my research, but there's a guy named Zamir McCormick, right? And I've heard a lot of people talk about him in the Raider circles, Raider content creators, some insiders, not many though, but mostly Raider content creators who talk about Zamir McCormick and say this guy has some real ability. Now, me personally, I have to go back and watch and see, what exactly he does well and what his game is like. But at the end of the day, that's our running back room as a whole if we were not to have Josh Jacobs. Now, are we pretty confident in that room? I give that room, as far as confidence, like a low 70, high 60s, right? Like a D, pretty much. D, C minus, without Josh Jacobs. Now, you look, he's pretty much damn near half the offense, Josh is, okay? Now, he's going to be real vital for this offense going forward, especially this year with Jimmy Garoppolo, trying to keep Jimmy Garoppolo upright. You need that dog in the backfield that you be able to hand the ball off 25, maybe 30 times a game. And, we'll be able to ground and pound, right? So I feel like that is going to be a real key for this Raiders offense. Josh Jacobs has to be on the field to be able to give us that threat on the ground, man, because now that you have a real rounded out receiving core with Davante Adams, with Jacoby Myers, with Hunter Renfrow so far, and Trey Tucker, all the dudes you signed on the outside, you need somebody that's going to be able to suck them safeties down, suck the linebackers in, right? And then we're going to hit you over the top. Plain and simple. You got to think about how many times we were doing that with Davante Adams last year. And keep in mind, Davante Adams' game isn't really tailored for all just let's go deep and let's throw it to him deep. He was doing shit that, he wasn't really accustomed to doing. So at the end of the day, it's pretty impressive to see what we were doing last year. Now with more weaponry, with somebody under center who is more comfortable with the scheme, now maybe we'll take that run game up a notch, man, and the offense will elevate with that, man. So that has been all I wanted to talk about today, man. Make sure y'all keep hitting that like and subscribe button, man. I am close to 500, and I cannot thank y'all enough for helping me get to that, man. So make sure y'all keep tapping on them buttons, man. Make sure y'all go stream the kid music. And at the day, y'all remember, man, I always keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground on the Raider Rundown.
Yeah. I was sick of the games, sick of the way you lied on my face, thinking that there was just no other way, no other day that you could ever explain. Now you got me looking bare in pain, wish I could bury the fame, I done married the game. And I found out that she cheat every day, so what's the purpose of